Hello guys, welcome to another Facebook Live with Aussizz and Kaplan Business School. Today we have beautiful Marcella from Kaplan Business School. She is the student recruitment manager there. And I have my two colleagues, Canon and Wendy from our Northbridge office. Okay, so yes, Marcella, welcome to our show.
Thank you so
And
much.
thank you so much for taking your precious time out and joining us for our Facebook Live today. Yes, so starting with the show, I would like to introduce yourself a bit to our viewers, and also I would like you to explain a little bit, as an introduction for KBS.
Sure. I guess first of all, it's a pleasure to be here in this office once again. It's great to have this live today to talk about Kaplan Business School. So Kaplan Business School has opened its fifth campus in July this year. So we have now a campus in Perth, which is our fifth location. Yeah, so apart from the normal campus that we always had, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, and Brisbane, we are now finally in Perth, where we're located.
Wow.
So exciting times.
I know, right? So can you please highlight on the facilities, like what are the facilities like you provided in Perth campus for
Sure.
students?
Sure. For those of you that don't know Perth very well, we are located in West Perth. So it's very convenient from Perth CBD to West Perth. Here in Perth, we have 3 buses around the city, which we call cats. Yeah. So we have 4 cats, and out of those 4, you can get 3 of them. So 3. Green, the red, and the yellow, and you're gonna stop just 1 block away from Kaplan Business School in West Perth. Yeah, so actually we always had a Kaplan presence in West Perth with our language school. So what we did, we renovated the campus. So it's looking very nice, very professional. So now we have those 2 institutions over there.
Oh,
Yes.
that's very nice. Like it's very convenient, all these facilities right at the outside of the campus, the school and all. Wendy and Cameron?
Yeah, Marcella, I wanted to ask you one question. Like, what are the courses available and then the intakes in Perth campus?
Great. So in Perth, we are starting with a selection of courses. So we are not running all KBS courses in Perth just yet. So we started with 2 of our main courses. Our bestseller, which is our MBA, that I can talk a little bit more after, and our Masters of Business Analytics. So 2 master's programs, and then of course the grad certificate and the grad diploma that is part of the masters.
Yeah.
In terms of intake, we always had 3 intakes on a year. So we always offer to the students this flexibility of starting either March, July, or November. So it has been always like that. However, we've been feeling for a couple of years now this necessity of having more intakes.
Yeah, exactly.
So students keep asking us for more flexibility. They say, you know what, between July and November, it's a long time. We need something in the middle. So this year we launched for the first time ever our T2X, which is short for T2 Accelerated Intake.
Wow.
Yes.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So we used to have, now you have September intake as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
So our September intake is starting on the 21st of September, and it's a shorter intake, so it's a bit intense.
Okay.
But with that, we are also offering 1 single subject for September. So students can choose to study only 1 subject in September for 6 weeks, and then they join us again in November as normal.
All right. So the September one will be a little bit intense.
Yes.
Okay.
It will. But good news is that this year was the first time that we implemented the T2X, and it has become so popular that we already confirmed that we can continue offering in the future. So next year we're going to have it again.
Nice. Thank you. Wendy?
So to follow up with Canon as well, I think, because you just mentioned that in Perth campus, we are offering MBA and Master of Business Analysis.
Yes.
So I guess, can you talk a little bit more about business analysis? Because I think a lot of people already familiar with MBA, and because this kind of master course, normally people think that they need a lot of work experience and skill for this one. So can you like talk a little bit more about like analysis as well of the skill need to pursue the two master course?
So is it clear, Marcella?
Yes. No, I think you heard well, and thank you for the question, Wendy. The Masters of Business Analytics is actually one of my favorite courses to talk about. I can talk about business analytics for hours, but I guess in a nutshell, the Masters of Business Analytics will teach students of how to translate data. So not only understand that data, but also be able to visualize and present the data and see the trends happening of all those crazy numbers. And once they see the trends, they're able to make better business decisions. So nowadays, everyone talks about data. You know, we have our smartphones in our hands, you know, they know everything that we are doing. And in a way, the companies are using those things to implement new initiatives within business to be able to capture more clients. So the course is all about analyzing those data, understanding that, and then making better business decisions, which is great. We do have two options of masters under the business analytics. One is 1 year, 8 months course. And the Masters of Business Analytics Extension is a 2-year course. I always like to mention that it's not an IT degree, okay, Wendy? So answering to your question, there is no prerequisites to enter the course. It's of course, they need to meet the academic and entry requirements for the postgraduate course, but they don't need to come from a specific background to be able to do the course. Remember, it has IT components on the course, so I would say maybe 30 to 35% of the course has this IT component, but it's still a business degree. Yeah, so there is no prerequisites for that.
Wow. Yeah, because this is like, you know, we have so many students who is wanting to do this course, and they would like to know more about like what is this, you know, basically, and they also want to know the specific requirements. So as per your explanation, so there is no specific requirement.
No. So of course, to enter a master's degree, the minimum would be for you to have the equivalent of a bachelor's degree here in Australia. But the Masters of Business Analytics, I guess that's the future, guys, really. When we talk about, you know, data, what to do with that data, what the companies are doing. Even one of the subjects is about ethics. How epic it is for all those big companies to know so much about you and use that information. So yeah, it's a really, really interesting course.
So Marcel, you just told us that the business analytics course, like one is for 1.5 years and 1.8 months. Okay, 1.8, 1 year and 8 months. Another one is like for 2 years.
Yes.
So what is the difference between these two courses other than the course duration?
Yeah, no. So the extension one, they will have more subjects.
Oh.
Yeah. So we actually the Masters of Business Analytics extension is going to have 2 electives. They're coming from the MBA, so the students can choose those electives.
Oh, so okay, because of the electives, the one is the formal one. So that's why there's extension. Okay, so that's pretty much clear. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, so apart from the, what are the general, you know, the informal requirements and formal requirements for all the courses like which the KBS offers in Perth campus?
Right. So when we think about entry requirements, we're always going to look at English and academic entry requirements. So of course, for the English part, then you have to, for example, give us English official test, proficiency test, such as IELTS or PTE. But for those students that don't have those tests, we can also offer our own online placement test.
Oh, so you have that.
We do.
Wow.
So it's called KITE test.
Okay,
Yes.
so how does it work? Like the student will be sent a link, or do they have to go to the campus to do that?
No, it's amazing. I guess it's quite similar to a PTE because it's an online based test, also for 2 hours. So the students apply, and usually agents will request the test for me, and we send a link to the students. So the students can do the test at their own home, at their own time. We will give them like a week to complete the test. A week? Yes, so they can do it now. And then after they do the test, within 2 days, I can come back with the results and say, oh, great, you made the entry for the course, or no, you need to study a bit more English, for example. So that we are trying to help them with the, English entry requirements.
I think that's more convenient. They have to not be requirements, they can very well do that test, right? And like, is it a one-time test, or can they get a second time, or
Yes, we do understand that sometimes when you say the word test, they shouldn't freeze. So because of that, they shouldn't have 2 chances of sitting for that test within 3 months. So for example, they do it today and they don't need the entry, then they can do it again, for example, in a couple of weeks' time and still try to meet the English entry for the course. Yeah. And then of course that we are talking for countries that don't need that English test for visa purpose. And then just going back a little bit on academic history, I guess. Of course, we will require the equivalent of a bachelor degree in Australia, but we know we work with international students. Sometimes what is a bachelor degree in their country is not equivalent here in Australia. So we can also take in consideration the work experience.
Wow.
Yes. So that's fantastic because, as I mentioned, you might have someone that is very qualified for the course, but they don't meet that formal entry requirements, but they have so much experience. So, submit the right documents, go to a good agency like Aussizz so they can help you prepare those documents and don't waste any time.
So for the, is there any minimum, like the work experience required for the substitution of English? Like, 1 year work experience or 2 years? Or
I guess, of course, it really depends a lot on the case and what academics they have, but usually we will be looking at, at least 5 years in general, as I said. Sometimes the students come from different countries and they work in different ways, maybe part-time or full-time. So it's important to submit a very complete application and let our application success.
All right. So along with the entry requirements, so is there any the difference between the offshore student and the onshore student? Are the entry requirements for the offshore student different from the onshore, or are they almost same?
They will be the same. It will definitely be the same. However, I guess once again, depending on the nationality, we might have our GTE process for offshore students, and then different from onshore students. Yes, but on the entry requirement, when we talk about English and academic, we are looking at the same.
Right. So can you explain to our viewers what is GT?
It's a funny word. I guess GT stands for Genuine Temporary Entrance. Yes. So it's a bit of a process to ensure that the students that are coming to Australia on a student visa, they're genuine students.
So they have to prove their genuineness, why they're coming for this course, why they are studying this course, and what are the opportunities,
exactly what value we're going to add to their life. And most importantly, I guess, when they're offshore, the GT process will include financial documents, for example. But once the student is here in Australia, Australian immigration, they did the job already, so they check the finances. So usually for onshore students, we will not request financial documents because immigration already did and they already approved for the student to come in. Yes.
And one thing, guys, I just want to inform you all that KBS is in level 1, meaning if you are onshore, you do not have to show fund for your visas. So it's very convenient. And yes, so Wendy and Cameron, would you like to ask any questions?
Yeah, I have a question for Marcella. Is the phone documents mandatory for the students who are seeking admission for this in KBS? What documents they need to submit for the admission in KBS?
Okay, Cameron, I'll just repeat your question. So you're asking what are the mandatory documents required for admission for the courses in KBS?
Yeah.
Is that the question?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
So of course we will be looking at application form, academic documents from either if you study in Australia or in your home country, original, translated versions, and then of course English proficiency test. If not, I'm gonna give you my own test. And then I guess we will talk more because I really like to talk about scholarships, but if you apply for a scholarship flyer too.
Do they need to certify their documents like before they apply KBS?
Yes, but that's why I always mention that it's important for them to go to a good agent like Aussizz, so then you guys can certify the documents for them, so they don't need to run around and worry about that. So you guys know exactly, what we need, so you can assist the students. I guess with the pandemic, we had to be a bit more lenient with certain requirements because in certain cities in Australia, the campus is not open, the offices are not open, so it's very hard for the agents to certify documents. Yeah, so we were able to open exceptions and still accept the students based on the condition that once the campus is open and things are back to normal, they're able to submit those documents for us.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, Marcella.
Yeah, and I will continue with Canon's question as well. So he was talking about the document. So I think if, let's say, the student doesn't have any English or the previous qualification is not up to the standard, so what is the pathway option for them to the master course?
Great, thank you, Wendy. So here, once again, I guess we're going to talk about the English pathway, and perhaps they can even talk a little bit more about some academics pathway. So for English pathways, look guys, English is not my first language too. It can be hard sometimes to learn a new language, to do a master's degree in a new language. So for students that don't meet the English entry requirements, we can package our courses, for example, with Kaplan International Language, which is located in the same campus as us. So they apply, for example, for one visa, they study English for a certain duration, and then once they finish the English studies, pass the course, they can start the master's degree with us straight away. And then another good news for you, I think, is that a lot of these students, as I mentioned at the beginning, they might not meet the official academic entry requirement for the course. So, for example, they don't have a bachelor equivalent to the Australian one. So for T3, for the first time ever, we are launching in all KBS locations a PQP course.
Right. So I think all the viewers, you are watching this, the KBS, they are launching PQP course.
Exactly, and you guys are hearing this firsthand. Really
good news.
So, so for those who don't know at all what a PQP means, it's a pre-qualifying program for postgraduate courses, meaning it's a preparation course for postgraduate, so the master's degree. So instead of just turning the student away and saying, sorry, you cannot study with us, we can offer the PQE as a package with the master's degree. Yes, yes.
That's another good news, Marcella. Yeah. So, Marcella, the another question I want to ask you is, like we all are together in this pandemic, right? And like everyone is affected, especially the international students. Their jobs are gone, and they're like facing a hard time, like paying tuition fees and running all the bills and everything. So, what are the significant changes, like especially made in the admission process? Maybe the mode of delivery of the courses, or like the course structure to suit the student who are who has been affected by this pandemic.
Yes, I guess I have so much to talk about that because we are all feeling since the beginning of this year. Some people are feeling more than others, but definitely has impacted all our lives in the whole world. So a few things that I'd like to mention. First, in regards to the delivery mode. So of course, during the pandemic, we all went completely online. Yes. For us at KBS, that was actually very smooth transition. The online delivery wasn't something new to us. We've been delivering all our courses online for over 7 years.
Wow.
Yes, even before the pandemic, international students were able to do about 1/3 of their course online if they wished. And then, for example, for the domestic market, a lot of students will go fully online. So when the pandemic hit and we had to close the campus, it was pretty smooth for us to move all the international students to the online environment because we knew what we were doing. We had all the softwares and the platform. It was like that. So then, of course, I'm talking about the mode of delivery. Another thing that Kaplan Business School did at the beginning of the pandemic, that was April, was to release a financial support package. So that financial support package was worth $5 million, which is amazing.
That's amazing.
I know. So the way that we support the students was that every current student and every new student for July intake got a $750 credit towards the tuition fees. It doesn't matter if it was current or new, everyone got that. Everyone got the temporary tuition relief. And then for the students that were actually really affected by the pandemic and they couldn't not even pay the rent, by application, we gave them extra $500 in gift cards. So overall, more than 1,500 students for KBS, they received these extra gift cards, to pay for food, rent, or any other bills that they were struggling to pay. And I guess, for me, we were all international here, and we know how important it is because when you have other issues in your life, you cannot concentrate in your studies.
That's when these students get affected.
Exactly.
And then eventually they get affected with their studies and all this, depression, all sort of things on them. But that's, it's a very good thing that you all did for the international students.
Yes, I was very proud. I was very proud to be part of the Kaplan Business School community.
And now we are proud to be part of that as well. Okay,
and due to the travel restrictions, like offshore international students cannot come to Australia right now, right? So,
yes.
Does KBS provide any privileges for these students?
But I wouldn't say as privileged as such, Kevin, but I would say that it doesn't matter if the student is here in Australia or offshore in the country doing online studies with us, they will have access to all the service and support as if they were here in Australia. And they will be part of the KBS community. So here we are talking about, for example, our academic success center. So, they're struggling with references or citations. They have no idea how to do their assessment, for example. Even they're not here in Australia, they can still access the service and the support, yes? So I guess that's the message here, you know. It doesn't matter if you're in Australia or overseas, you are part of KBS community and you have exactly the same as if you're here with us. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
So supportive, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and I think yes, because you was mentioned that even if the student is offshore and onshore, like they still get access to the same service, they get the same privilege as a part of KBS. Like bring it back to the course within the master course, like what kind of delivery with the course, like how do the assessment lie out, how will a normal user get will be delivered to the student.
Yeah.
Master course.
Wendy, you have some really good questions, Wendy, I tell you. Okay, I think I got it. A couple of things that I would like to talk. First is that, of course, at the moment here in Australia, for campus, they're open, they're able to be open and deliver face-to-face classes. The students are able to choose. So, for example, here in Perth, I have students doing only face-to-face subjects, and then I have a few students doing some online subjects. So we are being flexible with that during these periods of pandemic. Unfortunately, for example, in Melbourne, the campus is closed, as we know at the moment, and they're all online. Then I would like to talk a little bit more about our MBA, because I did explain about the Masters of Business Analytics. So our MBA, from the MBA, you can choose out of 7 specializations. So I guess if you're that's a lot. But once again, the students more and more they come to us with specific things. They're like, I want to study this. I want to work in that specific industry, and they can choose to do like general MBA or one specialization or even 2 specializations. Another point of our MBA is that they have academic internships as an elective. So, for example, you are studying your MBA, and instead of doing an elective, a normal elective, you can choose to do an internship and gain work experience in Australia.
One day study.
I know, one year study. So by the time that they finish the MBA, they're gonna have that work experience in the resume, maybe a reference letter from the employer. And nationally, what we see in our students that choose to do internship is that every 3 students, 1 get a job offer at the end.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow,
come
that's
on.
amazing.
I know. I wish I had that when I was international student.
Yeah.
And lastly, against our MBAs, we don't have exams. So we don't believe in that traditional way of teaching that we've been doing this for like over 500 years now, where we have someone talking about that and you just listen and then you go to exam, memorize, and then just write it down. We don't do that. We believe in learning by experience. So all our MBA is about the lectures are about having workshops, activities in class, and with that we don't have exams. So your grades, Wendy, when you come into the MBA, your grades are going to be assessed during activities in class, assessments, presentations. You're never going to sit down and just write it down,
Whatever
exam,
right.
yes, copy and paste
Yeah.
somewhere.
So it's actually based on your real-time learning.
Exactly, really practical, really hands-on. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you for that, Marcela. So next one is like the very important one. So can you talk about a little bit on scholarships?
Yes. I love to talk about scholarships. I guess one of the reasons why I like to talk about scholarships.
I think all of you are waiting for that one when the scholarship topic will be discussed.
It's exactly that. First, our scholarships, they're merit-based. So we want to give this little extra for students that, perform very well. We are not here giving discounts, if you know what I mean. That's why we call it scholarships. So we have first our regional scholarships, which is by part of the world. So all students, when they apply for the course, they also need to apply for this scholarship. And we also ask the students to write a little essay to us. So usually the regional scholarships, we're going to be looking at between 10 and 20% of reduction of the total course fees.
Okay, so 10 to 20.
Yes, which is already pretty good. But then we have what we call higher achievers scholarships. So,
not a scholarship, yes.
Yeah. So that's for students that performed very, very well in their previous studies. So, they're really high achievers. And we believe that they deserve a bit more because they study very hard. Yeah, so for those students, they can apply for the high achiever scholarships and get 30% deduction.
30% deduction.
Yes.
That's very nice. All of you guys, just listen to this, 30%. That's pretty much easier. Yes.
Lastly, at this point in August, we are running our health month at KBS. Yes, so one of our specializations in our MBA is our health service management specialization, which during the pandemic, it was talked a lot about how was great the contribution of healthcare workers during the pandemic. Yeah. So here at KBS, we wanted to do something very, very nice for everyone that contributed, that helped the community during the pandemic. So this month we are celebrating our health service management specialization. So we had a series of online events celebrating those workers and of course promoting this specialization. And then for students that are able to demonstrate that they worked, as a frontline health worker during the pandemic, so, at least in the last 12 months, we will look at it. They can apply for the primary leadership management scholarship, which is 50% reduction of their MBA. The total yes.
All right, 50%.
Yes, that's a very special scholarship.
So that's only for those who are those who dealt with the situation. Those who are working on the front lines, right?
Yes.
So only those students are applicable for that one.
Yes. So the selection criteria is quite strict. You need to demonstrate that you were working during the pandemic, and then of course we're gonna request some documents to prove that, maybe an employment letter, and you need to go for the health service management specialization. This is a thank you. It's a KBS thank you to healthcare workers during the pandemic and the amazing contribution that they did.
Appreciation from KBS.
Yes.
That's very good, Marcella. I think I never heard of all this until now, so it's so good to hear. I mean, it's such information, Marcella. Thank you so much. So I think last question from me will be is there any flexibility in the initial payment of the COE or for the initial payment for the enrollment? A lot of students are there who are not able to pay the first semester fee. So do you have any flexibility with that?
So for our next intake, for example, starting in September, students are able to get a COE by deposit. So we are asking for only $2,500 and they can get a COE and complete the remaining payment during orientation so they can enroll for the subject.
Okay, so they can just pay $2,500 from now and then get enrolled.
Yes.
Wow. Yes. Wow.
Only 2,500, you will get the COE. Marcella, I have last one question for you. What you wanted to see for all the viewer right now, and especially for the students who wanted to pursue their study in KBS.
Yes, I would tell them first to not delay their studies. It doesn't matter if you're here in Australia or if you're overseas, don't delay your study goals anymore and look for an institution that cares about you. So, I mean, you heard me saying all those things about KBS. And look, our students are the best promotional tool that we have. You see our student satisfactions not only in our internal surveys, but in external surveys, like CUT surveys. And yeah, it speaks for themselves. The students, when they come to us, they see the difference, they see the support, and for sure they're really successful in their studies.
Yes, so that's it. Do you have any questions, Canon and Wendy?
Yeah, I have one more question regarding to MBA course. Sorry, this is the MPA course. Some of the students wanted to know when the MPA course will be available in Perth campus.
Can you be a little bit clearer? I cannot hear.
So when the MPA course will be available in Perth campus?
Oh, when the MPA course will be available in Perth campus.
Oh, the accounting. Oh, I can hear you. I can hear you, Kelly. Yeah, that's true. The Masters of Accounting and the Master of Professional Accounting has been a course that a lot of our students currently in Perth have been asking for. Unfortunately, I cannot give you a date. Hopefully, trimester 1 next year. But I cannot guarantee it's going to be a watch this space. It's interesting, definitely. Yes, and keep giving me the feedback. The more feedback you have, the easier it's going to be to open up. Yes, definitely.
That's good.
Anything else, Wendy?
I think that's it for us.
Wendy, oh, Wendy, Wendy. Okay, so if you do not have any questions, I'm gonna wind it up. All right.
Yep.
Thank you, Marcella, for coming here, and all our viewers. This is Marcella once again from KBS, and we have talked so many things on the courses, the entry requirements, and especially the scholarship, which they have 10% to 20% and to 50%. You know, so if you have any inquiry, please do contact us, and you know where to contact us. We have given our addresses in the below link, and we have also three offices in Western Australia. One is in Perth, one is in Northbridge, and one is in Canning Vale. So you can contact us in all these three offices. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.